the sky. Till that morning, there's nothing can harm you. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life, and I'm feeling good.
Welcome, friends. I'm so glad to be with you. We're going to get started in just a couple minutes, but as you get settled, I'm going to invite you to make sure that you have pen and paper or journal and pen. Have a glass of water, maybe some tea. Make sure you're in a quiet place. And print out that first sheet of your handout if you have not done that already. That's the guided journaling page on the first sheet of the packet. And I think that was it. We have a lot of friends who are going to be joining us late today. There's just seems like there's a lot of movement right now. But go ahead and get settled. Grab those things if you haven't already, and we'll get started here in just a couple minutes. Welcome.
How's lunch going?
I'm just about ready to get started on it.
Okay, my thing is not printing. Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah.
So just taking a moment to get settled in. I have muted everyone, and we're going to start in just a minute. Friends, welcome, welcome. I'm going to invite you to unmute yourself right now so we can take a deep breath together. And Maddie, you can go ahead and take the screen, the welcome screen away so we can see all these beautiful faces. There they are. Beautiful. Let's take a deep breath together. So inhaling and exhaling. Let's do that twice more. Inhaling and exhaling. And inhaling and exhaling. You made it. You made it. Welcome to Creating the Summer Your Soul Desires mini self-renewal retreat. I'm so glad to be with you. Selfishly, I'm very intent on creating a soulful, slow summer. And so I wanted to do this in the company of other sisters. So that was the impetus for this gathering. But I'm going to invite you. We've got about 50 folks that are supposed to be on here live. We've got a lot of people that are coming late, dealing with kids and caregiving and all kinds of life happenings. But just take a moment and scan and see all these beautiful faces on here. So we've got people joining us from Europe and from Canada, from the East Coast, from the West Coast. And if you like, you can click on your name and add where you are. That's optional, but it's just fun to see where people are. So if you click on your name and then hit rename, you can put your name and then the city and state where you are, or the country if you like. So we are really looking forward to being with you today. And I want to acknowledge my beautiful helpers. So Maddie Mitchell on here is our communications assistant, and she is just outside of Austin, Texas, and she's going to be helping us and assisting in chat. You're welcome to message her in chat. And then my dear friend Laura Erickson is in New Mexico. There's Laura in Corrales, right outside of Santa Fe, I believe. And I've known Laura for a long time. So she's going to be helping us with the breakout groups. So one of the beautiful offerings from today is you're going to have the opportunity to be paired at the end with a support sister for the summer around accountability and your vision for the summer that your soul desires. So that'll be optional, but Laura will be helping to coordinate that. So beautiful. So I'm going to invite you, and those that are just joining us, paper and pen, get a glass of water. I picked out a really beautiful glass for myself that I got from a artist outside of Asheville. I really love this glass. It reminds me of summer. So I invite you to get comfortable and settle in. Oh, I see a lot of old friends and a lot of new friends. I love seeing your faces. Thank you so much for being here today. So we're going to start with a centering. So much going on right now, collectively and individually. So I'm going to invite you to put both feet on the ground, really feel your connection to the ground and to the earth. And if you've been having a lot of activity and you want to feel more grounded, I invite you to put your hands facing down on your legs or your knees. And if you want to feel a greater sense of expansion or openness, you can put your palms up on your legs or your knees. And if it feels comfortable to you, I invite you to close your eyes or take a soft gaze. So just feeling the connection here, first of all, with your sisterhood, other women from around the globe who are interested in pausing and living from the inside out and believe in the power, the potent medicine of connection and community. And if it feels comfortable, you might put one hand on your belly and one hand on your chest. It can be very calming to the nervous system. And just noticing, without needing to change anything, if you're breathing from your belly or from your chest. Noticing if your breath is smooth or jagged, shallow or deep. Noticing the feel of the air, the temperature of the air on your skin. Noticing if there's a predominant thought or story that's dancing across your mind, across your consciousness this afternoon. not needing to change anything, but just noticing. Just like you're at a train station and it's making a stop, you can wave it on. And outside of the room that you're in, I have placed a basket, and the basket has your name on it. And I'm going to invite you right now to dump anything into that basket that is lingering in your mind or your consciousness. Any to-dos, tasks, worries, concerns, just dump it in the basket. It's a huge basket. Just dump, 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 dump. And this is your time, your sacred time to really be present with yourself. And if you want to, you can collect that basket in 2 hours when we're done, or not. And I invite you to bring your awareness to the area above the crown of your head, and letting your awareness cascade down to your shoulders, your upper chest, your upper arms, elbows, forearms, hands and fingers. You might wiggle your fingers. And bringing your awareness down into your torso, your front body, back body, side body, your hips, your pelvis, your thighs, your knees, your calves, your feet, your toes, wiggling your toes a little, and feeling your 72 trillion cells, that's about how many we have, alive and well. And I invite you to come as you are. So really allowing yourself to show up exactly as you are in this moment. And I'm going to guide you through just a really short self-care check-in. So 3 questions. I call this my quickie journaling, just a short check-in to allow yourself to land and allow yourself to tune in to where you are in this moment. And the first question is, how do I feel? How do I feel in this moment, in this time and space? There's no good or bad. There's no right or wrong. This is for your eyes only. But when you're ready, letting your pen move, kind of stream of consciousness as you answer, how do I feel? How do I feel? Emotions are energy in motion. And my friends out at UC Berkeley that study the brain and how we process emotions say that on average, if we stay with a strong feeling, it lasts about 90 seconds. So just allow yourself to feel what's coming in and just notice, how do I feel in this moment, in this time and space? Don't overthink it. This is just a flash journaling.
Underbart, Anders.
And then the second question, when you're ready, closing your eyes again or taking a soft gaze. So the first question, how do I feel? Second question, what do I need? What do I need in this moment, in this time and space? It could be on a micro level. It could be, you know, gosh, I'm feeling really dehydrated. I'm feeling like I need to lighten my schedule today. It could be in the moment, or it could be on a macro level. I'm needing more support in my life, or I'm needing more opportunities for creative expression. But just welcoming it all. What do I need? So how do I feel? What do I need? And then letting your pen move stream of consciousness and seeing what wants to emerge. How do I feel? What do I need? And then the last question, and no rush, take your time. If it feels comfortable, you can close your eyes again or take a soft gaze and tune in. What do I want? What do I want? What is my heart's greatest desire? Is another way to sit with that question. So not what others think I should want, not what others think would be good for me, even if they're well-intentioned, but what in this moment or in this life stage do I really want? What is my heart's greatest desire? Maybe it's a way of being or a way of seeing, a way of moving in the world. What do I want? So for those of you just joining us, we're answering the guided journaling. How do I feel? What do I need? And what do I want? Just checking in. Beautiful. And then I'm going to invite you to circle one thing from that guided journaling that's jumping out that wants to be seen and heard. The circling one thing that wants to be seen and heard. And we will be coming back to that. We will be coming back to that. As we think about feeding the psyche, one of my mentors, so I'm a I Rest Yoga Nidra teacher, among other things, and one of my mentors says that more than anything, the human psyche needs to be seen, heard, connect, and belong. Seen, heard, connect, and belong. So we think about that as nourishment and food for our psyches. So I invite you to, you can put your pen and paper aside and just come into a restful place. And I'd like to read an invitation from our beautiful poet friend, Mary Oliver. And I know many of you have heard this many times. I'm going to invite you to adopt beginner's mind and hear this like you're hearing it for the first time. You're welcome to close your eyes. You're welcome to lie down, but just really letting it bathe your body, bathe your experience. A summer day. Who made the world? Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, and how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Mary Oliver, The Summer Day. Who made the world? Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? The grasshopper, I mean the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is, but I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? So as most of you know, who have been with me before, which is many of you, that I'm really passionate about stretching our brains. You know, it's like I could just feel, couldn't you feel moving into an altered state with poetry? Like poetry and songs bring us into an altered state. It's that space that is different, whether we call it liminal space or whether it's related to our brain waves. It's a different way of being. So I'm really interested in inviting people into experiencing different ways of being and thinking thoughts that you've never had before. Are you willing to have thoughts and ways of seeing and being that you've never experienced before? And the most powerful ways to do that I know are through dancing, through meditation, through spending time in nature, and through singing. And I was trained as a community song leader by a wonderful woman named Lisa Littlebird out of Big Sur, California. And we sing to feel good, not to sound good. We sing to feel good, and we sing to light up parts of our brain that are only ignited through singing, only ignited through singing. So this is how this works. And I'm going to invite you. Actually, let's stay gallery right now because I just love seeing your faces. So let's stay gallery right now. So this is call and response. So you will stay muted because it doesn't work when we unmute ourselves, unfortunately. You'll stay muted, but I will guide you through. And we're just going to do a really simple, very, very old English folk song to sing. And Maddie, I'm going to invite you to put the words in chat. But I prefer that you not look at the words. If you need to look at them, you can. But the whole point of this is really looking at me and doing this eye connection and seeing if your brain can just remember this. It's very simple. So take a little sip of water. Or a big sip of water. And let's move our mouths a little bit. So just kind of waking up your mouth, like, ow, 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 ow. You make some sound. Ow, 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 ow. Let's do some waking up our lips. That feels good. Awesome. Okay, this is how it goes. So I'm going to go like this, and that means listen, and then I'll invite you in to join me. And this is called Round and Round. This is an old English folk song. Round and round the earth is turning. Your turn. Round and round the earth is turning. Turning always into morning. You try it. Turning always into morning. And from morning round to night. And from morning round to night. That's it. That is it. And you can do the hand symbols if it helps you remember it. Round and round the earth is turning. Turning always into morning. And from morning round to night. Do you have it? Round and round the earth is turning. Turning always into morning. And from morning round to night. Round and round the earth is turning. Turning always into morning. And from morning round to night. Let's try it a couple more times and sing it like you mean it. Round and round the earth is turning. Turning always into morning. And from morning round to night. Round and round the earth is turning. Turning always into morning. And from morning round to night. 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 So in this tradition of community song circle and singing, and I will send you more information about this later in the week, part of this experience is you have the opportunity to thank the song, if you would like, for a gift that you received. So if you like, you can unmute yourself and you just share your first name and if you want to thank the song. So I'll model this for you. Renee, and I thank the song for helping me feel connected to all of humanity.
I'm Madison, and I wanted to thank this song for helping me feel peaceful and calm and in a state of relaxation.
My name's Alyssa, and I want to thank the song for making me present, being that I missed the first 20 minutes because my modem wasn't working.
So if anybody would like to thank the song, they can. You don't need to. And it's just part of this experience of community song circles where we're singing to feel good, not to sound good. And we're singing to light up parts of our brains to help us expand into new ways of being and new ways of thinking. So I'm going to share a few agreements so you can get the most from this experience today. And I will call myself out. Those of you that know me know that I love long form. So my favorite is spending the whole weekend with you. So this is my 5th virtual retreat since the pandemic, since 2020, and they've been magical and yummy. I think this is probably my last one. I'm just such a huge fan of belly time, what I call belly time, really being in the room with you and being with my sisters. But a few things to get the most from this today. I'm going to request and ask that we're going to do a lot of sharing. We're going to share as a big group. You're going to share in small groups. You're going to be partnered. And then we're going to be sharing through chat as well. And so that everyone feels safe and really comfortable in this space, I'm going to ask that we honor confidentiality today. And I'd like to see your hand up if you're comfortable doing that. Is everybody comfortable honoring confidentiality? Okay. And I trust all my friends I know that don't have their camera on. They can put that in chat if they want to echo that. So honoring confidentiality, I'm going to ask you to be, and I know that you're here and you know that I'm a get real or go home kind of girl. So I know that you're all about authenticity like me. And that's where we really have the richest and deepest connections with one another, is this willingness to be vulnerable and be authentic. So I invite your authentic self in. I invite you to engage. This is, so we have many sisters that will be experiencing this, as a recording, which will be really delicious as well. But we get the opportunity to be live and be together. And so really encourage you to engage and share through this process. And then the last thing, really, really important, probably the most important, is when you break into your small groups or you're doing one-on-one work, I'm going to really invite you and ask you to let people just be. Let them have their experience. So I know we've got a lot of physicians and psychologists and therapists and coaches and wonderful helpers here today, but you will find this amazing freedom in just letting people be. So if someone wants to, have tears or, whatever they're experiencing, you don't need to fix them or coach them. Just let them be. Are you guys cool with that? Letting people have their own experience. Okay. So before we do, I want to do a little visualization with you. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about this theme of creating the summer your soul desires and kind of what it's all about. I mentioned at the beginning that this was, definitely motivated by my own desire to be very intentional about this next 2 months. I am going to be putting on my autoresponder for 2 months. I'm working on a new book project. I'm going to be off social media. This is going to be big. I'm going to get Maddie's help. I'm going to get our other team members' help. But I'm going to really unplug. I am burned out. I don't know if anybody else is there. It feels like it's December 2022 and it's what, June, Did anybody else feel like that? Like it should be December, it's June. So I know I'm not the only one. We're like, oh my gosh, this year. So feeling burned out, feeling tired, but that kind of deep to the bones tired, where I need to step back and step away from a lot of the shoulds and have tos and really move into more spaciousness. I love to create. I love a lot of creative expression. And for me, that always comes from unscheduled time, from magical time in nature, from stretches of time that are not planned, that allow for spontaneity. I had an experience, if you happen to catch this on my blog, where I was with a friend and we went to a beautiful lake up here on a mountain in North Carolina. I'm in Western North Carolina. And we were supposed to meet for an hour for a swim. And we went out there and we're eating watermelon. Anyway, we ended up hanging out at this space at the lake for 5 hours. And we looked down and we thought, oh, like maybe it's been 2 hours, 5 hours of just like, we just expanded into this space together, and I encourage you, if you don't have those kind of friends, you need to find those friends, that will step away from their to-do list and kind of let you expand into that, ethereal space, which this friend does. But it was such a visceral experience. I mean, the cool waters, the juicy, dripping, sweet watermelon, the sounds around us, all of the sensations. And it really awoke me to, gosh, this is what I want more of this summer. This is what I want more of. The other thing that I love about this idea of entering this next stretch really intentionally is in our society. I know a lot of you have studied this with me during my weekend retreats. We live in a society that's more weighted around doing energy, right? Masculine energy, yang, do it, tasking, getting shit done. There's nothing wrong with that, but our society is very heavily weighted in that area. And we have this whole other, ocean of energy that's available to us. We call yin energy or feminine energy, which is very much about allowing, receiving, pausing, slowing down, being comfortable with not knowing, being receptive. And I really think so much of summer as representing and typifying that energy in many ways. So there's more information in your packet that I gave you on kind of looking at this yin and yang energy, but I also offer that up. So really this opportunity for all of us to enter this time together intentionally so that we don't wake up on Labor Day. I don't know if you've had this experience. I certainly have, where I've woken up before on Labor Day and been like, oh my gosh, that was a blur. I didn't have the experience that I most wanted. I love to cook and I love to make like peach and blueberry and strawberry fruit desserts. And, I love to find new swimming spots, and I love to have late night picnics next to the river and, go and chase fireflies. And I love all of those experiences. And so I'm just really wanting to enter this tension, this stretch with intention and from the inside out. And I'm so glad that you are willing to do that with me. So I'm going to invite us, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes or take a soft gaze if that feels comfortable. And everything that I'm saying is always just a suggestion. I make suggestions and you make decisions. So everything I'm saying is optional, but if it feels comfortable, you can close your eyes or take a soft gaze. And let's take a deep inhale and exhale. And hopefully you're beginning to feel that snow globe settle. I know you know what I'm talking about. Hopefully you're beginning to feel the snow globe settle. And I'm going to invite you to go back to your childhood. Go back to your childhood, maybe when you were 8 or 9, maybe even 10. And I want you to go back to a favorite summer memory. Maybe it was an experience you had with your siblings or with your grandparents. Maybe it was an experience on water, experience in nature. Maybe it was a food experience. Maybe it was something humorous that elicited laughter. Maybe it was just a felt sense, like a really strong felt sense. So many of our memories that come back to us. I just did a workshop for wonderful folks in their 80s and 90s around the same theme that we're exploring. We went back to their memories when they were 8, 9, and 10. And so many of our memories are connected to our senses. So sense of taste, sense of smell, sense of touch, and connected to nature. So a favorite summer memory could just be a snippet. It could just be a smell. It could just be a feel. It could be walking barefoot on hot pavement in Texas. I certainly remember that. Or in cool, wet grass after it rained. And you probably have many memories, but I'm going to invite you to just take a moment and jot down one of those memories in your journal or on paper. And that's that favorite summer memory or summer moment. And then when you're ready, I'm going to invite you, if you like, Probably won't be able to get to everyone's, but just short, just in kind of a snippet or a sentence. Put it in chat, a favorite summer memory or summer experience. So I remember mine, I think my biggest one was, I'm the oldest of 7 children. I grew up with 4 brothers. That's probably why I'm such a wild soul and so into taking adventures. But we would do crazy games in the pools for hours and hours and hours. We just never got tired. We would be like complete prunes, just shrinking and shrinking. And we would be starving and we didn't even care because there were just like more games, like endless games in the pool. So I remember just laughing and playing with my brothers for, oh my gosh, days and days in the pool, and then crawling out onto the hot Texas pavement and then eating something really good. So I'm going to share some of these. So Barbara says riding or bicycle. Chris says at the beach with my family. My dad held hands with each of us and my brother and lifted us over each wave. Yes. Beth says making homemade ice cream with my grandparents. Bridie laying in the meadow of wildflowers. Alyssa says she was at a camp on, I think, Long Island, squeezing vanilla ice cream out of a paper cup. I love the visceralness of that. Like you can just feel that and taste that. Leanne says the smell of star jasmine and gardenias at dusk. Jennifer says as a young child, my family lived near a small lake. My father bought my siblings and I a small sailboat and we could take out and go out on the water ourselves. Oh, how fun, like freedom. Feeling, some of us felt our first freedom, I think, in the summer as children. Allie says playing shuffleboard with her brother in Florida. Jenny smelling flowers. Deidre visiting her grandmother in Hempstead. Summer rain showers, cold cucumber salad, deviled eggs. Going to church with grandma and senior citizen parties where they played bunco and dominoes. Yes. And had really good food. Right, Deidre? Cindy says parents drove me in the morning to the park to eat donuts, read a little, walk the trails. Regina says riding the truck tailgate to play on the river at my grandparents', playing with cousins in the river. Bonnie says going to the pool or the lake. Meg says fireflies after a rainstorm. Barb says everything about being with family and friends at our summer cottage on the lake, playing games, root beer floats, making ice cream, sailing, swimming, total freedom. Gosh, a lot about freedom, which I love because I teach sovereignty and allegiance to self. So this is beautiful. Maddie says watching fireworks in July with my mom and sharing popsicles. Laura says laying in my bed while the window was open and the rain poured down through the ponderosa pines, the smell, the cool air, and the light thunder, and the cozy, safe feeling. Oh, I love that. Lisa says going to summer camp and being very embedded inside a feeling of very strong community. Beautiful, Lisa. Yeah. Karen says riding my bike to Sanchez Park and riding the trails again and again, thick woods with jumps. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. So feeling into summer memories, feeling into what summer conjures up for you. You know, when I had that day with my friend at the lake, the 5-hour where we kind of entered, twilight zone time, I realized that night when I was journaling about the day, and I thought that the summer that I desired was this mind-blowing bucket list of all these things that I was going to do and places I was going to go and music and things I was going to eat. And after coming back from that lake experience, I realized it's much more about how I want to be. It's really about cultivating a state of being, which is what I'm so passionate about. You guys know I teach self-care, the art of attuning and responding to our needs and desires moment to moment, cultivating our desired state of being through self-care. So I offer that up too, as just planting a seed. Is this a bucket list for you? Is this experiences, or is this more about how you want to be this summer? So I'm going to invite you, Maddie, let's see. If you will put up the link to the Google Doc in chat, Maddie. And I'm going to invite all of you now to take a little solo date. So we've kind of entered, hopefully your brain and body are starting to calm down. Your nervous system is feeling a little more regulated. You're feeling a little quieter, a little softer, a little more open. And I'm going to invite you, let's see, until 1 o'clock. So 15 minutes, you're gonna have 15 minutes to take a solo date. And I would like for you to answer the guided journaling questions that were on the first page of your packet. The reason that I asked you to print that out is because our brains work very, very differently when we are journaling as opposed to being on our laptop. For most of us, our laptop can start to engage a lot of hyper analytical thinking or tasking or goal-oriented thinking. And I want you in more of a dreamy state. And I'm actually going to bring you into a little connection with your wise self before we do that. But if you have not printed out that first page, you'll have a minute to print it out. I would also encourage you to change environments in your home. So when we change our environment, we change our thoughts. Change your perspective and you change your thoughts. So I invite you, maybe you go on the back porch, maybe you go out in nature, but just, have a different environment. So is that clear? Is everybody good on that? You're going to do the guided journaling. We're going to come back together in 15 minutes at 1 o'clock. And before we do that, I'm going to connect you in to your own wisdom, your own inner knowing. So I invite you to put your pen and paper aside and put both feet on the ground. You can rest your hands in your lap. And before you go on this little solo date, let's invite in our wise selves to be with us. Our wise self is that part of us that holds an oceanic space of potential and possibility for us. She is wise. She is always with us. For me, my wise self is my soul, but it may be something else for you. It could be your intuition or universal wisdom or the divine. But inviting your wise self to come and sit across from you right now. And you may have an image appear. She may be younger than you or older than you. Maybe you at 100 or you at 5. Or it may be another physical or other form, maybe a color, maybe a feeling. But inviting your wise self to come sit across from you and to be with you as you go on this little solo date. She is always with you. She's always whispering in your ear and helping guide you to your highest and best. But most of us are so busy and we're plowing through to-do lists. We don't ever give her time and space to show up and have voice. So this is a little window to do that. So feeling that connection with her, taking a deep inhale and exhaling. And I invite you wherever you go, you can turn your camera off and I will see you back here at 1 o'clock. And bring your wise self back into the space that you go to and stay with her as you answer your questions, your guided journaling. And I'll see you back here at 1 o'clock, 15 minutes. Okay, friends, we're coming up on the hour here. I'm going to invite you to circle one thing from the guided journaling that you just did that wants to be seen and heard. One thing that wants to be seen and heard from the guided journaling. Or two things, one or two things. Very good. So in a minute here, lovely Laura is going to break you out into groups. And you will probably be with a group of 3. Some of you, a couple may be with a group of 2, and that's okay. And if you do not want to be in a group, then you just will not accept. So when it pops up on screen and it says accept, you have to hit accept to get in your little breakout group, which I highly recommend. But a couple of reminders, we're just being together, so you don't need to problem solve or fix anybody or coach them or even give them resources. Just let them be, just souls being together. I want to invite into our circle lots of self-compassion. We've got so many big things going on right now that a lot of us are having, our nervous systems are hyper aroused and hyper adrenalized, and we don't even realize it. So inviting in a lot of self-compassion, inviting in curiosity. So our brains love it when we're curious, so what I'm going to invite you to share with your sisters in your little small circle is what you're observing. What are you observing? What are you noticing as you did this guided journaling exercise? You might share what you circled, but what you're observing, what you're noticing. You're going to get about 3 to 4 minutes each to share. I'm going to invite the person with the shortest hair to start. And I'm going to trust that you will be able, if you want to have a timekeeper, sometimes that's easier. Somebody on their phone sets it for 3 minutes each, and then you can do some group closing out at the end. Laura, am I forgetting anything? Does that sound good? Maddie, am I forgetting anything?
I think you covered it all.
Okay, wonderful. Anybody have questions? Does that sound good? Okay, so you're going to get about 12 minutes total. Laura is going to lovingly place you in a room, and I trust, and I know that you will be with exactly who you're supposed to be with today. So enjoy this time together, and we will see you back here shortly. And if anybody's never done the breakout groups, Laura, is there anything they need to know? They just need to accept, right?
Yes, you need to accept, and just we may need to do a little shifting around in the first 30 seconds or minute in case some people don't join. So just be patient for that first minute, and
Yeah.
we'll get you all started. So
just hang in there. And if anything happens, you can always hit the button, go back to the main room, right?
Yes.
And we will take care of you. So if anything happens, you can go back to the main room.
Absolutely.
Okay, enjoy.
Okay.
Just make sure you hit accept when it shows up on your screen to be in your group.
Okay, here we go. They'll be back in 60 seconds.
So fun when everybody comes flooding back in. Welcome back. Welcome back. So I see lots of smiling faces. So friends, I would love to hear what you're observing. We're going to open up our circle now for some observations and some group shares. What are you noticing? What are you observing? What is surfacing for you? So just remember, we've got a fairly large group, but you will just unmute yourself, and if you'll just share your first name. So when we say our name, we call in the soul. So this is creating the summer your soul desires. So you'll just share your first name, and then just anything you're observing or noticing? I'd love to hear from you. Yeah, Amari?
Good morning, buenos dias.
Yes.
One thing that I'm just so excited, Renee, that you took us to, I think you took us to memories of summer, because my summer memories are not that great. I just loved hearing everybody else's, but mine weren't that great. And so for this summer, I decided yesterday, actually, before this, to go to this women's retreat in Colorado, a friend of mine is putting on. And I decided to reframe that retreat as summer camp, because I never got to go to summer camp as a little girl. I said, I am going to summer camp, going to hang out with my friend and meet some other new friends, and we're going to do all this fun stuff. So so that lightness that I need in my life right now got sort of infused in this trip I'm taking in August. So thank you very much. It's very exciting.
I love it. Thank you. And you guys can just, you can raise your hand if you want, but you can also just unmute yourself and just speak.
Hey, everybody, I'm Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer.
One of the things, I don't know if anybody will have caught this, but my background has changed. You know, one of the things I did in the 15 minutes was I came and I sat outside, and I thought that I would feel much more peaceful if I was doing this virtual retreat someplace other than the same room that I work in. And just being, so truly just that change of location has relaxed me more. I understand you can hear the birds chirping. You could hear an Amish buggy go past. But it's just that, you know, I can change my attitude by simply changing my location. And you know, how much that will help. So.
Beautiful. Great awareness. Who else? What are you observing? What are you observing? What are you noticing? Yes, Alyssa?
So I want to say thank you, Renee. This is the third program I've done of yours, and I had the pleasure of doing one in person. And I love the community you bring together. And what I observe is, you know, people are always quick to see differences between themselves and others, and seeing how much similarity there is when people bring their true selves and openness.
That oneness. And I needed this today, given what's going on in the larger scope right now. I really needed this today. So thank you, Lissa, for illuminating that. And my friend Nikki, I know, had her hand up, and then Karen. Nikki. Hi, Nikki.
Hi. Oh my gosh. What I'm noticing is that I thought that I was on time, and I did not because I just miscalculated. Hello, 3 hours is not 10 o'clock. And I didn't realize till halfway into our group. And I thought, wow, this is a little abrupt, but doesn't seem like Renee. I'm like, but okay. And I couldn't answer anything. I was like, I guess I'm just really not in the zone. I'm like, what I'm noticing is I clearly need this. It's so good to see you. And I mean, I'm still cracking up. This is going to make me laugh probably for the rest of the year, because I was so shocked. I'm like, wow, I must be really off.
You'll get the recording.
So, thank you. I know. I'll watch the recording. Thank you.
I love it. What else? Karen.
I was going to say that I'm not muted, right? I'm good.
No, you're good, Karen.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is, it seems like no matter what, when you get women together, and there were 3 of us, you know, it's just so amazing to me that we find that common thread, you know, just bare open, wide open, you know, not worrying about anything. And it's just, I'm so thankful for that, because it just amazes me every time it happens.
Yeah, me too. And I've been doing it for 30 years. Thank you. Thank you. What else are you observing or noticing? Observing or noticing?
My name's Chris. I notice spontaneity when I do things spontaneously last minute. That feels so delicious. It's back to freedom and flexibility. And it reminds me that when I was younger, we used to have this joke with my college roommate. We would plan to be spontaneous. We would say, okay, let's spend Saturday together, and we'd connect and have coffee and then say, now what are we going to do? And we were both like over-functioning planners. And I just thought that I'd like to do more of that too.
I love that, Chris. You know, it's like I hear from women, you know, I work with women around the world, and I hear over and over again that the thing that is most delicious is expanses of unscheduled time. And it's like just relaxing into that and seeing what wants to be born from that. I think that was the beauty of that experience with my friend Bridget at the lake, was that we were just sinking into this unscheduled time. And then just the conversation, and we were making up songs about summer. I mean, we were just, it was like we were 8 years old out there on this raft floating for 5 hours. You know, it was so much fun. I mean, so much fun. So I'm with you, Chris. Spontaneity. Yeah. What else? What other observations? What are you noticing? Oh, 2 hands raised. I missed. Allie, I see was your hand up, Allie?
Yeah. I'm noticing for myself, you know, that I can have both a structured summer and a fun summer to get the things that I do have to get done, but at the same time, enjoy my summer. It doesn't have to be all hard work. I do have room for play, and I think that's important. Taking breaks to cook a delicious meal, taking breaks to lay out in my 6 by 10 foot kiddie pool in the sun. But those little things, they add up, and they make for a meaningful, relaxed summer.
They do. They do. And one of the things, great share, and one of the things that we know about, you know, so stress, when we occupied, and that's why there's so much, you know, out there on the cover of magazines and in the business world about mindfulness, because we know that when we're fully present, like when I brought us into our breathing and then the body scan, when we're fully present, there's no stress in the present moment. So stress comes when we are living in the future or we're living in the past, but there's no stress in the present moment. So what I loved about your share, Allie, is the noticing, you know, so it's noticing. It's like we do things, but we're noticing them. It's like I went the other morning, I had so much going on at work, and I had all these contracts due, and I went to my outdoor workout. And one of my friends in my workout, she said, come with me to pick blueberries. There's like 15 minutes away to just like pick your blueberries. It's just this stunning place. And I'm like, oh no, I've got contracts, I've got deadlines. And I was like, wait a second. I'm about to do a retreat on creating the summer your soul desires. I'm like, I am so there with the blueberries. And I went and picked the blueberries. And I like savored it. Like I snacked while I picked. I looked how they were plump. I washed them, I put them out on the counter, and they got plumper and more beautiful. I mean, so just the noticing as we move through these sensual experiences can be really profound. Sherry, you have your hand up, and then Barb.
I was just going to say, it just sounds like the same words I'm hearing like everyone's talking about, almost enjoying life like a meal. Because I wrote down that I want to be prepared to savor the moments in my life. And I just hear that word over and over again. Yeah. I feel like too often, like last night, we had an open evening, surprisingly, now that the Stanley Cup is over. My husband's a huge sports fan. So I felt like, oh, now that he's done with that tournament to watch, now we have an evening to ourselves. And we kind of didn't know what to do with ourselves. So it was a reminder to kind of be prepared to take moments as they come, and maybe not do anything, but just enjoy, just savor it.
Yes. So. Yes. Savoring. I blogged recently about digestion, about that same idea of savoring, and that I was in a loving way, kind of making fun of myself. I'm a big extrovert. Most of my close friends are introverts, and they are always teasing me about how many experiences and adventures I am packing into life, you know, and I've learned so much from them about having an experience, and then rather than moving to the next experience, like really pausing and creating space to digest and savor and really be with what just happened, whether it's a musical experience or whether it's a meal or whether it's a conversation. I think, I don't know, I'm just really noticing myself enjoying building in more time for savoring and digesting what I'm experiencing moment to moment. So thank you, Sherry. Barb?
Yes. What I'm noticing is because I live on a lake in a beautiful place, I think it's in some ways even harder to give myself like time to really savor and enjoy that, because it's day-to-day life. And so really wanting to give myself some vacation days as if I were at a summer cottage on a lake somewhere, and remember that I can do it even in my own home, and that, unscheduled time to follow desire. I didn't even want to name things specifically. It was like, no, just permission granted to really tune into my needs and wants first and foremost.
Yes.
Figure
Beautiful,
out what it
Barb.
is day by
Thank
day.
you. Thank you. I'm so happy to see your face. Yes. So happy to be with you. Leanne, what are you observing?
So I wrote down meditation as self-compassion, not as self-improvement. I had started a meditation practice maybe a year ago, and had realized that I go through life with my jaw clenched and with a buzzing in my chest almost all the time. And so I had kind of worked that out. I was shocked at 49 that that's actually like, I'm so accustomed to it. I had no idea what it felt like to not have that happen. And then in the last 6 weeks, somehow meditation wasn't happening. And I was definitely like pushing forward to the end of the school year, and realized about a week ago that, oh my gosh, my jaw's clenched again. And I wasn't paying attention to the buzzing in my chest. So I'm just noticing like the physical manifestations of how my thinking and feeling, how that shows up for me, and like paying attention to it. So maybe I'll catch it before it gets this much again.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, my body is my boss for sure. Paying attention to what's going on. And noticing when I'm feeling a clenching in my chest or discomfort in my belly or my upper back. I always look at that as like, a white flag, like pay attention. There's something really big up right now. It might be time to course correct. So I want to make sure and save time for us here at the end to move into our last partner, our group share. But I want us to just marinate for a bit more in this feeling of wonder and awe. So a lot of you, your shares and your summer memories are bringing me into a state of wonder and awe, which I think is one of the most beautiful places to hang out. Wonder and awe. So I find that when we enter what I call wordless spaces, times where things feel so big that we don't even know what to say, and we are even at a loss for how to begin to digest or process what's happening. I mean, my God, how many of these experiences have we had in the last 2 years? How many can we take? It's just so many, right? I don't even need to name everything, just so many on a macro level and also on a micro level. I mean, so much fallout from the pandemic that is still unfolding and that we're still experiencing. So I find that the things that really help bring me into this space of wonder and awe, and I was just talking to Maddie, our communications assistant, about this too, about how important it is to feel our humanity through connection with one another. But the state that, what I find that I return to time and time again to bring me into this state is poetry and singing, and poetry and singing. And if you're in North Carolina, you can come dance with me. I created a movement experience called Wild Souls Authentic Movement. But I'd like to read a poem from one of my favorite poets right now. She's a young woman. She's a mama out of Oregon, and her name is Shalon Harkin. Who knows Shalon? I'm just curious. Anybody know Shalon Harkin? She is a contemporary of Hafiz, the poet Hafiz, and her poetry is gorgeous, just stunning. So I will send a resource email to you, and I'll make sure and include these songs and these resources that I'm talking about. So you don't need to write anything down. And this is from Shalon, and this poem is called Say Wow. Each day before our surroundings become flat with familiarity, and the shapes of our lives click into place, dimensionless and average as Tetris cubes. Before hunger knocks from our bellies like a cantankerous old man, and the duties of the day stack up like dishes, and the architecture of our basic needs commissions all thought to construct the 4-door sedan of safety. Before gravity clings to our skin like a cumbersome parasite, and the colored dust of dreams sweeps itself obscure in the vacuum of reason, each morning before we wrestle the world and our hearts into the shape of our brains, look around and say, wow. Feed yourself fire, scoop up the day entire like a planet-sized bouquet of marvel sent by the universe directly into your arms and say, wow. Break yourself down into the basic components of primitive awe and let the crescendo of each moment carbonate every capillary and say, wow. Yes, before our poems become calloused with revision, let them shriek off the page of spontaneity. And before our metaphors get too regular, let the sun stay, a conflagration of homing pigeons that bites through fire each day to find us. Let's say wow from Shalon Harkin. So honoring the space and time that we're in right now. Yeah, Lisa, she's like, I think all of 32 years old and is writing this mind-blowing poetry. She picked up a pen and started writing during the pandemic. She started writing in 2020 and now her books are just like wildfire. So honoring the space and time that we're in right now and everything that we're navigating, particularly as women and what we're feeling as women right now, we're going to sing another song. So Maddie, I'm going to invite you to paste this into the chat. And again, you do not need to look at this, but if you get confused about the words, you can. This is called Walk With Me. This song is by Maggie Wheeler. Does anybody remember Maggie? She was in Friends. If you remember, like way back, she was in Friends. She was a movie star, very successful, had a career as an actor and did a lot of wonderful things. And she discovered community song circles. I don't know how many years it's been for her, maybe 10 years. So you can join her and I'll send you her information, but I met her at Omega Institute. I was leading retreat at Omega. And the story goes that this was right after, I believe, the 2016 election. She was walking the labyrinth at Omega Institute in upstate New York, and she felt she was in one of those wordless spaces, you know, and feeling grief and sadness about the divisiveness and where our country was. And she wrote this song. And actually, she didn't write this song because this is the way that we are invited into this community of community song circles. Songs choose us, songs come to us. So this song came to Maggie on the labyrinth. And the words are, I walk in the spirit, I walk in the light. I walk through the darkest hours of night. And I call on my ancestors to my left and my right to walk with me, to walk with me. Ooh, it's emotional for me. So Maddie, do you have that pasted in? So again, you guys don't have to look at this. I'm going to guide you through. So you want to mute yourself, but you've got the words there, but really you're going to be looking at me as I guide you through. So we're using the oral tradition of call and response, and that's where we're getting the greatest brain benefit that's helping us stretch into new ways of thinking thoughts we've never had before. And so it goes like this. I walk in the spirit, I walk in the light. You try it. I walk in the spirit, I walk in the light. I walk through the darkest hours of night. I walk through the darkest hours of night. And I call on my ancestors to my left and my right. And I call on my ancestors to my left and my right to walk with me, to walk with me, to walk with me, to walk with me. Let's try it one more time, teaching you the lines. I walk in the spirit, I walk in the light. I walk in the spirit, I walk in the light. I walk through the darkest hours of night. I walk through the darkest hours of night. And I call on my ancestors to my left and my right. And I call on my ancestors to my left and my right to walk with me, to walk with me. You guys got it? You got it? You got it? Let's do it together. Okay. I walk in the spirit, I walk in the light. I walk through the darkest hours of night, and I call on my ancestors to my left and my right to walk with me, to walk with me. I walk in the spirit, I walk in the light. I walk through the darkest hours of night, and I call on my ancestors to my left and my right to walk with me, to walk with me. Sing it like you mean it. I walk in the spirit, I walk in the light. I walk through the darkest hours of night, and I call on my ancestors to my left and my right to walk with me, to walk with me. Last time. I walk in the spirit, I walk in the light. I walk through the darkest hours of night, and I call on my ancestors to my left and my right to walk with me, to walk with me, to walk with me, to walk with me. Song, I thank you for connecting me to everyone who has come before me and everyone who is still to come.
Song, I thank you for reminding me that it's okay to not be super serious and that we're all like doing it together, and it's okay to be silly and enjoy yourself and have fun and not care what people think.
Hell yeah.
Song, I thank you for bringing Renee into my life and every single woman who's here today. Thank you.
Song, I thank you for reminding me that I am not alone.
So I'm going to ask you to invite you to close your eyes for a moment or take a soft gaze. And I want you to anchor into the summer that your soul desires. What it feels like, what it looks like. Maybe you have a visual that comes to you. Maybe it's like, I just had this visual of this dolphin, like just playing in the waves and bouncing through the ocean. Maybe you have a visual anchor that comes to you. But really feeling into the summer that your soul desires, that your wise self most wants you to experience. This is a special, magical summer. What is the summer that your soul desires? And what kind of support do you need to manifest and experience this? What kind of support do you need to manifest and experience this? And Laura is going to break you out into groups. So this is the person that she's going to be pairing you with, or that the universe is going to be pairing you with, a la Laura, is going to be your summer support sister. So this is going to be your support buddy for the summer. And I'm going to invite you. So during that time, you can go ahead and share phone numbers and share emails. But primarily what I want you to do in this share, you're each going to have about 4 minutes to do this. I want you to share what kind of support you need in order to manifest and experience this summer that you've been envisioning, the summer that your soul desires. What kind of support do you need? Does that make sense to everybody? Does that make sense? Okay. So person with the longest hair is going to start. And don't worry about the logistics of the support buddy. I'll be sending you a follow-up email that will talk about what that looks like, you know. But I will say that if you have the space or bandwidth, I would encourage you to connect with your support buddy as early as Friday or this weekend, because when you do a little retreat like this, you know, you're going to be unpacking a lot. There's a lot to digest and you're kind of marinating in all of it. And it's very powerful to reconnect with someone that was in the same circle that you were in, and to do that sooner than later. So if it's possible, and you can, even if it's just a little Zoom tea, you know, on Friday afternoon or Friday morning or something, or, you know, if that's possible. But really you're going to be together. It's going to be 10 minutes total, Laura, and sharing what kind of support you need to really manifest this summer that your soul desires. And make sure that first you articulate and share what is the summer that your soul desires. Okay. Does that make sense to everybody? Sound good? Okay, thank you.
One group will be lucky enough to have 2 support sisters, because we'll have one group of 3. So just so you know, I think that's how the breakout rooms will work out. So, okay.
And if for some reason you do not want to be paired, then you just don't accept, and then Laura will work her magic and it will all work out. Yeah. Thank you.
I love it when it takes people a while to come back, because it means they're, and when they come back with a smile on their face, that always makes me so happy.
Okay, Maddie, you can go ahead and do that. Did you enjoy connecting with your support sister? Yeah?
Yes.
You excited about holding each other accountable for the summer?
Yes.
All right. All right. Beautiful, beautiful. So as we start to close out here, we're going to sing, and I'm going to also offer some resources. So in Clarissa Pinkola Estes' words, who wrote Women Who Run with the Wolves, she said, "We were made for these times. We were made for these times." So I'd like to invite us to sing one of my favorite songs. It's a very simple song. This is called River of Birds. It's from the Oregon Women's Land Trust Chorus. Oregon Women's Land Trust Chorus. I know many of you have sang this with me before. Barb said, yeah, Barb said she got the perfect partner. I love that. I love that. I trust that you all got the perfect partner, even if you don't know it yet. Even if you don't know it yet. So the words to this song are, it's very simple. There's a river of birds in migration, a nation of women with wings. There's a river of birds in migration, a nation of women with wings. Okay, so you'll mute yourself if you're not muted already. And it goes like this. There's a river of birds in migration. You try it. There's a river of birds in migration. A nation of women with wings. A nation of women with wings. That's it. Try it one more time. There's a river of birds in migration. There's a river of birds in migration. A nation of women with wings. Feeling your connectedness to your sisters everywhere. A nation of women with wings. Do you have it? You got it? There's a river of birds in migration. A nation of women with wings. You can harmonize if you like. There's a river of birds in migration. A nation of women with wings. There's a river of birds in migration. A nation of women with wings. I'm going to ask you to hold the melody and I'm going to harmonize. There's a river of birds in migration. A nation of women with wings. There's a river of birds in migration. A nation of women with wings. Last time. There's a river of birds in migration. A nation of women with wings. Song, I thank you for reminding me that no matter what goes on around us, we are still ever as powerful. The summer day. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? The grasshopper, I mean the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is, but I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, and how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day long. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Mary Oliver, The Summer Day. Beautiful Mary Oliver. So friends, I'm going to ask Maddie, let's see. Maddie, I'm going to ask you to put up the slide for a moment, the closing slide with resources. So those of you that have hung out with me some of you for a few decades, I am going to send you a support email, a resource email that you will get this week. So you'll get the recording, and then you'll get a support email, which will have resources. Also, make sure you check out your packet. There's a lot of resources in your packet, including a support document on the last page. In the confirmation email that you got from this retreat, you got so much support to help you through the summer. So I gave you ebooks of both of my books, The Mother's Guide to Self-Renewal and Nurturing the Soul of Your Family, which are not just for parents. I extended to you a registration and download to the Sovereignty Retreat, which I did back in January, and it includes a Yoga Nidra, deep relaxation session. You should be getting my Live Inside Out blog every Tuesday, which includes support and resources. If you want to be on social media, you can hop onto Facebook on Live Inside Out with Renee Trudeau. And then you have your support sister for the summer. So does anybody have any questions? Does that all sound good and make sense and feel good? Okay. So one last challenge. Maddie, I'm going to have you take that screen down for right now and then bring us back into gallery view. So I'm going to invite you to choose a theme song for the summer. And I would love to hear from you what song you choose. For those of you that have Spotify, I sent you the playlist. Did anybody listen to any of that playlist? It's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah. So I'm going to keep adding to that, adding some things to that. So I'm going to challenge you to pick your own song, a theme song for the summer. And I'm going to share my theme song right now as we say goodbye. I just went and heard the amazing, sexy Michael Franti in concert in Asheville and danced solid for 2 hours in the mosh pit to Michael Franti. And it was so amazing. And this is his new song from his new album. This is the Follow Your Heart tour, Follow Your Heart song. And as we say goodbye to each other, let's everybody unmute for 1 second. Can you unmute yourself? Yeah. So I just want to say thank you for being with me and helping me like seal this into my body, how I want to feel this summer, how I want to be this summer, and really deeply, deeply fortify and nourish myself so I'm ready to rock it in the fall. And hopefully with some of you at Kripalu, some of you will, maybe you can join me at Kripalu October 14th through 16th. That is about to sell out. If that calls to you, you're going to want to jump on that one. So let's all say goodbye to each other and send love and blessings. Put your hands up maybe and just send some love to your sisters. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, Barbara.
Thank you so much.
Blessings.
Thank you. And so hang in there. Maddie's going to play my theme song for the summer, which I want you to hear. Here it goes. Turn it up, Maddie. You are dance. You are encouraged to
like
dance.
a stream to the ocean. Take up all of your devotion. Take up all of your emotion. And give it to the ones that you love. And reach for the skies up above. Your family and friends that you love. And know that your soul is enough to get you through another day. We are the dreamers. And we are believers. And I know you feel it in your soul. When we all fall down, even when the world's been spinning us around, I know the seasons will change and bring a new day and make it okay. You just gotta stay who you are. Everyone's a shining star. Dream, 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 it'll take you far. From the streets to the beach to the mountainside. Everybody touch the sky.